everyone, and welcome back. Today we have a list in mono black that is kind of catered to be a universal list, kind of trying to be good against everything at once, and it gets a lot easier to do that if you are in a monocolored, because you just kind of say, oh, control's a problem, play the best control hate piece in our color, and ours tends to work out very well for this kind of strategy. For example, we have the Deep Cavern Bats, we have Duresses, Lilianas, Graveyard Trespasser, along with these Cavern of Souls that make it very hard against control to just kind of sit back, stack up on cards in their hand. We're constantly kind of hitting their hand, making them discard things, get stuff out of their hand. They really rely on Memory Deluge or top decking that Sunfall to get our stuff off the board, because it's very inefficient for blue-white control to kind of get this card off the battlefield, because they have to discard in addition to that card, and control hates being 2-for-1 for the most part, and this is most likely going to chip in a lot of damage. Also, if they're trying to do the thing where they counter your spell and they put spells back into their deck so they can kind of grind the game out, Graveyard Trespasser takes all those spells away from them. Or if they discard a Memory Deluge to say Liliana, Graveyard Trespasser can come in after that, exiling that Memory Deluge so they don't actually get to keep the value that they were hoping to keep with that card. And then obviously Deep Cavern Bat being just a nice disruptor, but also a crime committer, along with the rest being in the main. The other thing that we get to do in those matchups with Karavak acting as our main kind of centerpiece, we want to play this more as a 4 or 5 drop in this deck, where we're truly getting to play this, long goodbye something, duress our opponent, or like cut down something, duress our opponent, Liliana minusing, duressing them, Graveyard Trespasser targeting something in their graveyard on combat attack trigger, and then duressing our opponent if they're control, things like that. And against obviously the aggro matchups, same story, but instead of duress, replace it with cut down, go for the throat, long goodbye. And that's kind of our strategy there. Other than that, we're just playing really good black cards. We are playing Gix as a kind of draw engine or late game barrel stuffer, as I like to call them. With the 7-mana ability on the bottom, discard X cards, and then do the X card trick with our opponent's deck, and just start playing their win conditions. Try to win through their deck if we have to. And one of Shieldred, one of Archfiend, which works very well against the kind of go wide strategy. If we get to play Karavak, Archfiend, and somehow are still alive, and we just start picking off all their creatures, Archfiend is definitely going to get us the win very, very quickly, along with being a 6/6 flyer in the air. That's very tough. And this card oftentimes is also weird for our control opponent, because they have to eventually answer this. 6 damage is so much. And especially with us hindering their hand all the time, a lot of times you'll see just a board wipe alone just to get this creature off the board. And then, of course, Shieldred along with Gissa here. One of the things to take note of with this deck's construction is the fact that we have Bronco, and it can kind of drain our opponents. And we really only want to be saddling in our deck if it's aggro, and we don't want to obviously take a ton of damage if we hit a top hand card. But we only want to really saddle in the matchups where we're pretty sure draining them is going to be important. So obviously if we settle this and we hit them for 3, and then Graveyard Trespassers coming in, it's exile a card, that's a drain for 4. And then we have things like Archfiend Dross. If we're removing their creatures, that's another drain for 2. And then things like Gissa, just to target it, costs 2 life. So you can sometimes just get there off of draining your opponent out over more of the kind of combat style that you would prefer in a creature deck. So outside of that, let's go ahead and hop into the games. And if you enjoy my content, please, for me, subscribe to the channel if you so choose. I truly appreciate it. And let's just get out there and game. My opponent goes first. I have removal and 2 Broncos. Sure, why not? Hand bad. Ooh, this hand got a lot better. Mono white. Now it's like, is this mono white control or what? We don't know. That auto resolve, but they could have laydown arms, which makes you a little worse. Haven't seen mono white control in like 17 years. Instantly put them on laydown arms, which is funny. Probably the worst one. Is it? I guess I could have played Karavak and kept up to long goodbye, but I just don't know if it works most time. Get lost. No way, bro. I guess it should just be like Archfiend here. Most of the time this is going to go on human regardless. Archfiend up. You have another get lost. I mean, this is probably by far the best matchup for them, I think, in most cases. On the fact that they're just a creature hate deck. And Liliana is a great draw. Do I play out my creatures and then play Lily? I think so. Bronco. Next. I thought maybe they would try to remove it if they have removal, but we'll take the shot here. What do we have? Sunset Revelry. That's fine. I can bring up Bronco after I try to hit this. Now I know I can play Liliana here. Okay. Do I want this cut down? I don't think so. Do I want to put another counter on Bronco? I also don't think so. I definitely don't want that there. I guess I want to see what's on top for my Bronco, because I will draw a card. Okay. Move to combat. Attack. What are we getting? We're getting you 3. What we're giving you. Mono white here with this Graveyard Trespasser. I think she's good enough just to hold on to. So let me play Swamp. I don't think Cavern matters that much. And I'll let the other Cavern go. We'll plus and take a card out of your hand.
Drop it.
And we'll have Liliana kind of just force them down. And if they cast Sunfall, like if they rip land, cast Sunfall and get these off the board, so be it. But then I have Graveyard Trespasser, which is hard to remove with like very few cards in hand. Now, would I prefer this situation to be Graveyard Trespasser and play over Karavak here? Yes, because this is a much better threat to play on an empty board, especially when we're both empty-handed. Because I could technically minus and target them just to trigger this ability if I want to play other spells, which I might. Farewell. That kind of tells me they don't have Sunfall. Because if that was such a hard decision, right? Like, what was the other choice, you know?
I'm not interested in dying today.
I don't have a discard in hand. Fantastic. I can commit a crime. I can replay a Lily. I can do it all. This is where this deck is by far at its strongest. Yes. 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 Take my 2. Lily, come in.
Those who get in my way.
I'm going to go ahead and minus here. Get this out of the way. I don't have any more mana. Activate Bronco. Saddle up with the Trespasser. Move in. Attack. Now, see, talking Numa, I'm more willing to just, like, let go. I'm going to actually hold it for my Liliana pluses. These are legendary. Here comes Sunfall, I think. What I've been putting them on for a while, and they hit it. Very nice. It's weird to see this because this is a token, by the way. We know this has to be a spell. Let's plus here. Get rid of Foundry. Let's Karavak. Carvac. Things, people, places. In turn. If they bring this out, ooh, empty board to populate. Do I have a card I want to set and play instead here? I would rather just get him back, but is it not worth just grabbing this Archfiend? Empty board, just grab Archfiend, close the game pretty quickly. Yeah, let's try it. Keep Cavern Pat. Definitely not the grab here. We get this down. Liliana's going to plus. Also, ooh. Can't remove that. Is it not being able to remove that? Do I just plus then? I think so. Might be a greedy plus, but
we all have things we'd rather forget.
All right. This is one of the reasons I wanted to plus for this situation right here, where I can kind of get into combat, attack, play whatever card I draw off the top, and then plus Liliana here to where this doesn't even matter. They're gonna bring it up. Obviously, this does nothing. Now we plus. Tone is pretty much the same here. I block here. They take 2. I down tick. They take 2. I hit for 6. Block. I always forget this card. Whenever creature your opponent controls it. Obviously, I knew that. They don't play counter magic, so again, caverns don't really matter in this match. Cut down, you're so close. You're like annoyingly close. Do I just plus? So I can figure out what they have. Yeah, I think so. Plus. I was afraid of an Emperor, to be honest with you. Now we hit for 3. It's draw or go home. Just draw and go home. Okay. I was afraid of a Wandering Emperor, and if they had Emperor, they were obviously going to flash it in there, and I would just wait a turn. Liliana would survive with plus being able to down tick and get there, and I would just have to hope like they make a 2/2 or something, and then I draw a removal for it or something. It was definitely close. That's the risk of Archfiend, though. Yeah, this is a hand you want to go first with. This isn't even a bad on the draw hand because you have so much removal. It's also uncounterable. Horus is the ticket, it seems. No pass in main, so we're definitely on the... Could be a Helix. Do I think it's a Helix? I don't know. Claim this. Is it Helix? No? Not? Now, obviously, I don't think very many people play Laydown Arms, but it's just fresh in my head from our last match. Laydown Arms, obviously not in this deck. No planes so far, so it'd be pretty brutal if it is in that deck. Tough draws. Yeah. What is this deck? I know what this deck is. I just can't think of what it is. It's like... I think this is Boros, like Geological Appraiser, Wedding Announcement, Urbrass Forge. Just like that weird value deck. It could even be Mardu. There's the Helix. I think this is a little bit better, to be honest. But maybe they just wanted to get damage in. They're trying to race right now. Let's start hitting hand. Submit 0. I don't want to hit that right now. Battalions? Wow. Wedding Announcement's the only card they can actively play right now. Battalions are playable in 2 turns.
No more distractions. Let's make this quick.
Gonna go to 3. I still have a Liliana plus after. Sick. I imagine Lockdown's going. Yeah, they're gonna keep their big bullet cards. Totally makes sense with me. Oh, they found the land. Here comes Appraiser hitting just something good. Oh, the card I made him discard. Sick. Liliana should be targeted here.
You're gonna need a good Undertaker.
It's gonna be a tough game. Do I duress them and take their only play just for them to draw another land? Probably. This one? 0. Sorry. I was like, what are we talking about? And then I can get rid of one of these.
Drop it.
Man, I want to get this Gissa down so bad. It's so good for me. I'm gonna pass here so this alone can't attack me. Play the land, devastate me.
This isn't how
Be fair,
to go.
that might have been worse. That might have been a better play for you. Oh, man. This one. That one. I am struggling to hit my 5th land drop with Gissa in hand. I think it's the second game I've just been like wanting to get this Gissa down so bad. Yes. I will take that out, please. I'm perfectly fine with land play Gissa here, even though it's maybe not the best thing in the world. Alright, hopefully it's a crime card. We are at our wit's end here. Preferably a way to remove the Urbrass Forge, like the creature. Also, this creature is just like impossible for us. This card, I think, is pretty impossible for us to remove. This could be another Brotherhood End. If you have it, you have it. There's not a whole lot I can do about this, dog. Is what I'm saying. And these are made tapped. And just like that, we hit the other land. Alright. It's what it is. I feel like Urbrass Forge is a card that we just can't beat. And with so much control around, like Urbrass Forge is everywhere. Because control has a hard time beating that card. But like, none of these answer that card at all. But it is what it is. On the play here, go for a third or deep cavern bat plus a lily. Very sweet. Play 4 lilies to have them, you know. And people have gotten a lot better at dealing with Lily. Before, Lily was just like this super devastating card for people to have to deal with. And this match is weirdly enough great for Lily. Kind of whack because, yeah, like the slick shot and stuff. Honestly, I'm just on the train of, I'm just going to take, I think, the Monstrous Rage. Yeah, I'm just going to take their big ramp card. If they play a Phoenix Chick, I don't care because it equalizes. If they play a Swiss Spear, I have like the removal and stuff. This is a slick shot angle. Even better. Kind of. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and attack here. These go for the throats are too strong right now. They play slick shot. They try to ruckus it. Sure. This here? Yeah. Sure. 2 damage, not that bad. I do think I'll be a little mana efficient and just get the Swiss Spear off the board if they go to end step. I mean, if you're mono red and you're threatening me with 2 damage to put me to 19, I'm most likely taking it pretty much any time ever. We'll just get that off the board. Not have to worry about it. The rest taking Kimono. Ick. So we're pretty much giving them nothing to do here. Attack. This won't be able to block this with a ruckus on it regardless, so. Sure. We could argue to take a ton of damage here and just like go for the third to 1-day ruckus first. But I'm going to allow this. Even though this is quite a bit of damage, I still don't know. Like, it's still way better getting this off. And this is what we were hoping for. We were hoping on the second one that they went for the slick shot. So now this Phoenix Chick doesn't draw 2 cards on us removing it. I think if you're going to put that ruckus on one of them and you're like, I'm going to force him to choose to give me 2 cards or the slick shot, I would just probably go ahead and ruckus the Phoenix Chick again because Phoenix Chick is a 3/3 now with menace flying. It's definitely tough in general for us to get off the board. But like, you know, I want to answer this anyway. And on the side, without even putting a spell on it, it was already a 5/2. And now you have a 3/3 that when I remove it this turn, you're going to potentially get to untap and draw 2 cards. I would honestly probably just play this Lily and start plussing. And like try not to worry about the Phoenix Chick too much because I don't want to give them more cards. Unless I'm way ahead. But it is what it is. Hands nuts. This cavern with all the black spells. Sure. Liliana's better with a lower hand count. So me needing to hit a land because I have cavern is definitely tough. On the draw, going down a card is definitely harder to deal with against mono red than my full grip of 7. But hey, cut down and the rest and stuff were pretty good. All right. Will we draw the land against this matchup? I think I just hold up to go for the throw to protect against monstrous rays. I named human on this, right? I sure did. They find second land. I just monstrous rays that. I don't care. I'm getting this Swift Spear off the battlefield, I think. No. This one? This one?
When I win, you're telling me what
Lightning
you
Strike
know
Lily?
about the Raven Man.
Their Gruul? That's so brutal. That sucks. Not knowing their Gruul, I was just assuming it was Play of Fire or Lightning Strike. It's weird because this matchup's actually fine, like where we're at right now, which is funny to think about because Gruul is very, I'm going to play one creature and hope it's enough kind of thing. Sure. That just gained me 3 life. That's super sick. And the land drop?
Time.
Do I just bronk it? Well, they have a Godric alone in play. Just saddle 3. It's not like I'll be able to saddle it regardless. Let's play Lily. Let's just try to give them problems. And if they want to play this Questing Druid, they can take a turn off with it, I guess. Another land, not what they want. They find second Godric. Most lists only play 1, but they're opting for like 2 or more. I've only seen 1 in most Gruul lists, but obviously I could be wrong. Human. Play this one. Hope it lives. Pretty much take any damage we get here and then take a little look-see. Yeah, I'd have to read Gissa too. I'm gonna be honest. I don't blame you for having to read this. It's very good. But I am very 5 minutes insane. Yeah, that makes sense. A little troublesome. It kind of reveals. Well, no, because arenas just whack sometimes. I'm not taking this. Like, shoot, dude. Shoot your shot. Yep, we knew it was coming. It just. Like, you have Twinferno? Like, I'll lose here. No? Hitting me for 9? Sure. We get to now look at hand. Go for the throw. Incredible draw. Listen, I love Cavern as much as the next person. Please stop trying to leave them as my last lands. Make some zombies. Picking Ruiner and Lightning Strike. Distribute counters. Not as bad. Lightning Strike. Awful. Because then this doesn't really do anything. Then they also don't have to hit me necessarily. Next. No. Because this right now can block here. If they cast the bottom side of this, it doesn't actually trigger Questing Druid. Is this a dead draw? And do I hope it is. Because this also counts as a crime. And I'm nearing one-shot territory. Because I'll have 12. Do it. No permanent will enter. This one. This pause tells me they have a spell. Something to take a note of. What do you have? Four, 5, 6, 7. What? 3 times 4 is 12. I'm short by 2. Oh. And I lose my buff on Gissa, dude. That's tough. Go for the throat to draw. Very clearly the idea. I think we're doing nothing here. Do I need to 8 them here? Doesn't change my clock though. That being 10, like there's not really a point. Now maybe they'll lightning strike a creature, force me to block. I mean, they go. They have double lightning strike. Ew. Dude. Well, this is an impossible hand to keep. Sure. This one. Hope my spells are good. Mainboard duress against domain? No. Legends. Okay. Sure. Play Rona. I will cut down Rona. This one? The rest is normally going to be bad any other time in the game, so I'm just going to fire it off now. Boring clicks? Ooh. Plaza. Thinking about cycling here? This one? Hope it's not third go for the throat, I guess. And then I can bat them and duress them again. If it's worth. Bat. Commit my crime. Man, their hand really relied on that Rona, huh? Duress. Take my 2. It's mid-0 here. Nothing. Titania in the hand. Warren clicks coming off the top potentially. Titania having reach is bad, but Warren clicks is way worse. This is the one that gives them value, yeah. So Deep Cavern Bat's going to take the Warren clicks. It might not even get to play it. Oh no, they have a tap green source. They'll get to play Titania next turn. So I hit. They might cycle? No? I feel like cycling makes sense there. Human, uncounterable. Sure. Now this can't be cycled. Here. I'll duress you. Could you imagine? He's like, sure, I don't know what card's in your hand. What do we got? Do we just have generic cycle? We'll try to find something. Rona, pretty good. Do you play your land? No. Rona's good, but our play is also good. Here, it's like now they can't even cycle the land. They can. I hope that card's not good. That card's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think you can afford to cycle there. I think you just have to like understand the fact that you're going to lose that card and just let your lane go. But ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. Oh, transforming. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No.
A delay, nothing more.
Yeah. Lethal. I understand flipping that, but I think we just hold Odawara. Right? not the best thing to war. Maybe would war this. But I mean, we also ripped a really good card for that. I mean, that sucks that they flipped it. Like, I'm going to go for the 30 even if it wasn't lethal. Don't let him untap with it either. Oh, Maul 2. Sick. A Maul here is really good, especially with Graveyard Trespasser. Blue. I assume it's not just mono blue. Blue, black, control. If I'm guessing. We'll start off with the bats. They already mauled, so hindering their hand more is even better. Gonna remove in response. Makes sense. Long goodbye. Very bad card to use early. Not that they obviously had a choice, but use. I guess it's supposed to be Trespasser into Bronco Deep Cavern Bat. Get that out. We're removing cards from their graveyard, even though we could keep them there for crimes, but for deadly cover-up so they can't exile our cards. This is fine. Deck thinning over deducing. Interesting. Afraid of that Foundry. Pretty interesting indeed. And they get a swamp? Deluge? The combat. This one. This one. I mean, this one doesn't matter. I probably shouldn't have taken that one. Just so I had something in the yard to commit a crime with if I need to. Like this one. But play this to play around. Honestly, I want this one in play. If one of them's going to resolve, I want it to be this one. Let's take a look. Another removal spell. Okay. And deadly cover-up. Sure. I'm going to be... cast one spell. Sure. Deadly cover-up, so annoying. I just have to play around it for so long. Now, this Field of Ruin can't be activated on my lands either. The little part of me is like kind of on the don't even activate Takenuma plan. Because it'll give them their other blue that they need. I do think I play... I think I'm going to play Bronco here. And I'll let them Field of Ruin this because it'll be on their turn. They'll take it. Again, deadly cover-ups in their hand. So... just making our land drops. And then we'll play Gissa whenever they deadly cover up here. A cut down, sure. Man, if we had a Liliana at any point here, it'd be so clean. They find the land. The Field of Ruin not needed. But next turn, this is coming off. If I was going to play a land, it should have been the Foundry. But, you know, we live, we learn, we laugh, we love. I'm just letting this go to work, honestly. Down 8. They will target my Foundry, though. Most likely, we're probably going to do it anyway on my Takenuma. But allowing them to use them now, and if I draw a Cavern, I feel better. Deadly cover up. Unless you find removal, like a long goodbye is really good here. Use that colorless, sure. Here's deadly cover up, can't be kicked. That's 2 drain. Honestly, if Graveyard Trespasser doesn't get answered, they lose, which is wild. So I'm gonna go for the Trespasser because I can exile 2 creatures in my graveyard, which will double ping them, and then an attack plus double ping again is lethal. Sure. Combat. This one. Double target. Sure. You find, go for the throat, long goodbye, things like that. You've already used a ton of them. They pick pretty quickly, so I feel like they have it. Does this hit? It does. Wow. Yeah, I mean, okay. So we had some highs, we had some lows, and I think overall, I mean, the deck felt pretty good. There were some games I felt like we could have won. I ended up losing, but I mean, it is what it is. It's the kind of the nature of the game, right? Whenever you're out here floating about. And one of the big key like contributors is Liliana for the most part. Liliana's pretty sick. As a 4 of, when the matchup she's good in, she is devastating. And in the matchup she's bad against, obviously not that great. Sometimes it can be good against like those Gruul decks. We didn't get to quite see it there, or even Boros with like the Virtuosos and stuff. They just had quite a lot of creatures, making the Liliana a little bit harder to deal with. But the reason Lily's so good in those matchups is the fact that they play a lot of protection spells. So if you're able to get Liliana down, you can minus target them, and there's not a whole lot they can do to save their creature, because giving it indestructible no longer matters, because sacrifice gets around that. But other than that, I mean, we're loaded up on removal. I'm still, like, me personally, like, I like Bronco. I'm just not entirely sold on it. Now, is that because every time I play it, like, the threat of Bronco is better than Bronco, I think. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the time, I kind of just want to attack. Like, with all my creatures. Like, I don't think a lot of times I want to tap my graveyard Trespasser down to attack with this Bronco and they remove it. Or once I sat on my graveyard Trespasser, try to go to combat, they remove this. Of course, it works if, like, graveyard Trespasser has Summoning Sickness or Gix or, like, Carryback. Then, of course, like, it's wash, right? It doesn't matter too much in that spot. But the turns where it can be good is, like, obviously getting them close with things like graveyard Trespasser having that ward, making them discard a card. Shielded being a good card. This being ward pay 2 life and 2 mana is definitely really sick for us, because it causes a lot of problems whenever this is chipping away, making those kind of pain abilities a lot better. And Archfiend as well, being like, every time I remove one of your creatures, you're just going to get pinged for 2. So it definitely gets tough on our opponent, and this is kind of the idea across the board, is to drain them out and do what Mono Black does best. Kind of chip in a little bit, drain a little bit in places that we can, hinder your hand, and just try to whittle you down pretty much at all phases of the game at once. Our hardest matchup probably is just blue-white control in theory, but obviously the rest, Deep Cavern Bat and Liliana, is pretty hard for them to deal with. And we do have 4 Mistress Foundry in here to kind of act as that creature they have to deal with as well. So if we're like interrupting their hand and they don't quite have a Field of Ruin, or they have to Field of Ruin our land because it's hitting them, but their hand's getting messed with, it definitely gets a little bit tougher on them. They really rely on Memory Illusion those matchups. But look, Memory Illusion just can't save them all the time, especially when we have a card like Trespasser that is also a major hindrance to control. And we played this deck kind of for that. I've been running the control a lot. Covert's recent video was blue-white control. And if you've ever played Best of One, you kind of have to know what other content creators are playing. Because if you don't, it's kind of hard to figure out the meta. If he plays blue-white, blue-white shows up a lot more on my ladder. If he plays this Gruul deck, Gruul shows up more. Ash Sizzle's the same. Legends VD is the same. Like, any kind of higher, like, YouTuber on that spectrum that plays that Best of One format, when they play decks, they show up on ladder a lot more than they normally would, because normal circumstances it would just be the main meta where it's going to be that Esper domain, like blue black. But you have to watch out. It's sneaky. You gotta watch out. But other than that, this deck performed pretty well. I mean, this card's still a powerhouse, still super sick. I think the first time I read it, I thought you lost life equal to its mana cost. So like playing like a Gissa from the yard with Karavak was like, man, I got to take 5 to do that. It only being 2 is super sick. I like the stagnancy of that, and it makes it a lot more free. The only thing I would change really is maybe go down to a 3rd Lily, even though like obviously we're kind of hedging our bets against it. If you want to keep the Broncos in, Broncos would probably be the card I would remove kind of first. I want to play another Shieldred and get maybe some more, just maybe more board wipes. I didn't play against Boros today, so I didn't get to really feel out that matchup and see if I kind of had enough to deal with it, because Boros is obviously just a lot of creatures, and Boros actually struggles to beat this card a lot of times because we cut down a creature, or we go for the throw with their creature, we Graveyard Trespasser, we take it, we gain a life, and they can't really remove this case. They discard a card, which they're very card inefficient in a way. Like they need all the cards that they have to kind of win the game most times. As you can tell, whenever they win, they're out of cards in hand. So if we can interrupt that pretty aggressively, it's tough. Also, playing this on like turn 4 or 5, whenever we can then like either duress them or cut down a creature, bring a cut down back, or a long goodbye or something like that, this card becomes really hard for them to beat as well. Where like I think even in that matchup, this card kind of struggles. If they play Imadanes, this trades off with creatures, but it also dies in the process, where like everything else is pretty good. I would really probably like this card to become Preacher for the most part. Like just say kind of, this is kind of what it's replacing, right? It's like a 2 mana value card. I would like it to be a Preacher overall, and we obviously just treat like we treat Karavak as like a 4 or 5 drop. Like we just treat it like it's one of these cards, so we can get value off of it immediately with all of our lower mana stuff. But it is what it is, and that's all I got for you today. So outside of that, I hope you all enjoy, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.